Hello,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Hey, brother, can you see me, hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you. No,
All
I
right,
can.
let's
No,
see.
I think I could see you.
How's that?
It's good.
Good, good. Where are you?
I'm in Annapolis.
Oh, wow. Very cool. I used to date a girl in high school from Annapolis.
I can get started if that'll work best.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the Young Entrepreneurs Podcast. I'm your host, Spencer McPartlin, and today I'm joined by, as everybody I'm sure who's been to Harbortown knows, he's a legend, Gregg Russell. So, without further ado, I guess let's dive into it and learn about his career and kind of how he ended up at Harbortown. So, can you kind of kind of walk us through your journey and like how you got started, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, I've been making music my whole life. The Beatles came out, and I heard that, and I thought, wow, that's what I want to do, and was able to get a guitar. And I was in all the little neighborhood rock and roll bands like everybody was back then, and started singing my way through college, sitting on a stool and singing quiet little singer songwriters kind of songs, James Taylor, Billy Joel, that kind of stuff. And then I got to work, got the opportunity to work at Disney World on the weekends while I was in college. And I was finishing up school, and an agent walked up to me and said, "Hey, I've got a job for 2 weeks on a little place called Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. You'd be great for it. How would you like to do it?" So I had nowhere else to go. So came here for 2 weeks all those years ago, and it kind of worked out. I've been here ever since.
So, was the thought, I guess, kind of let's see what happens, and if this short-term gig, so to speak, works out, great. If not, I'll pivot and go explore something else.
No, I never really had any thought about trying something else. My 2 weeks here became two more, became two more, became two more. And then by the end of the summer, I had booked enough gigs throughout the winter to go out to the ski resorts out in Colorado, Aspen and Vail and Beaver Creek and places like that. And then I got on the college circuit, and then started opening for major acts around the country and Las Vegas, and I was on cruise ships all over the world, and I was just never ever out of work ever.
And do you think that that's kind of a good thing, or do you kind of see it as like a bad thing, or a mix of both?
I don't know anything negative about it. I've gotten to live my life the way I wanted to, and being creative and having fun and in front of great audiences really all over the world, and it's brought me everything that I now have in my life. So I don't think there's anything negative about it at all.
How did how did you and the founder of Hilton Head kind of meet, and what was the expectation when it started out, so to speak?
The expectation was they needed somebody for a 2 week opening, and the agent needed somebody to go in there, and he thought I'd be a good fit. And then over the course of time, I met the developer, Charles Fraser, who was a visionary, legendary guy, and he kind of befriended me and took me under his wing, and gave me a lot of opportunities that I wouldn't have had otherwise.
So do you think that um him opening the door, but also him giving you guidance, that it helped you with your career?
Well, of course, everybody starting out is struggling to find their way. And I certainly, although I'd had a good education, I really hadn't focused in on long term. I was just thinking, okay, I'm out of school. This looks like fun for a couple of weeks. And then all of a sudden, there you are. Uh, I've got a Christmas show coming up, and that will be my last show of my 48th season under the Liberty Oak in Harbortown.
Is it looking back, is it kind of a sad reminiscent, or is it kind of like a happy pain, so to speak?
It's a little bit of both. I mean, I've had a wonderful career doing all the things we've talked about, but the Liberty Oak thing has been special. I made a connection with multi-generational family members, grandparents who brought their kids, who brought their kids, who've now brought their kids, and that connection is pretty special. Most everywhere else I go, it's one night and then I fly back home. But Hilton Head, I sleep in my own bed, and I'm a part of the community, and it's like the people that come here on tour, and I'm in one place, so they come from Pittsburgh and Cleveland and Cincinnati and Atlanta and everywhere, and then they go back home, and hopefully they tell their friends and neighbors who might be coming down here to go see that goofy guy under the tree. So that's the different part, and it's gone by so fast, all these years, and it's going to come to an end like all things do. But I won't look back with any regrets at all.
Now, is there anybody who's kind of gonna be be the next you, so to speak, or is that kind of
Well, I'm so old school and corny. I'm not sure there's somebody that's kind of going to do it the way I do it. But, now with TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff your generation is into, you see talent all the time. Um, so I'm hopeful that someone or some things or a variety of things will step in and inherit a wonderful audience who is used to coming and sitting out under the big oak every night all summer, and they will inherit a very, very good opportunity, whoever that might be.
now what's kind of next since you're stepping back, so to speak?
Well, I have a 2 more year commitment with the Sea Pines Resort, which will take me through 50 years. And we are discussing now what it looks like beyond that. I think I'd still like to show up from time to time and do a little something. But my wife and I have been traveling extensively. I've really gone from doing 200 nights a year on the road and then 100 nights a year here for all 40 years, really. I've really cut back, and so I'm not doing as many shows as I used to do. Um, so I'm winding it down. I'm gonna. I don't mind telling you, I'm gonna be 75 years old next week. I have a birthday next week, and I've had a great run, and no regrets. The Apple TV documentary that came out. I don't know if you saw that, but these were young guys that used to sit and watch me, and now they're very successful filmmakers. And they approached me, and I told them for 3 years I didn't want to do it. I turned them down, and finally we agreed to do it, and they saw something in it, and it turned out within 24 hours of being broadcast on Apple became the most watched documentary in America and stayed there for almost 3 months. So that has opened up some other doors, like talking with you today, and a variety of uh, uh, podcasters all over the country have called and talked about, retirement and entrepreneurship and turning something out of nothing into something special. And I'm enjoying that. So thanks for having me with you today.
course. Now, I know that starting out you didn't have a lot because I think it was um the owner of Hilton Head, he kind of asked where you lived and you were kind of honest and was like, I'm living behind the what used to be the Piggly Wiggly, and he's kind of like, can you like I'll offer you a place. How did that kind of give you a little bit of hope, but a little bit of perspective, so to speak?
Well, it made me, number one, feel valued. Number two, allowed me to move out of my van. I was living in the back of a van. Now it's kind of cool. People live in their vans, but back then, I felt like the poorest guy in town. But I was living in my van, and the developer approached me one day and asked me where I was living, and I said, "Well, I'm living in my van." And he afforded me a place to move into and get my legs under me and begin to build a career. And young people now, I don't know how you start off with a career and trying to. Life is so expensive, and it was even back then. So to be given an opportunity and a chance to get my legs under me and start my career was really invaluable.
Now, how do you kind of do that since you're older, kind of flipping it and giving it, helping other people out, so to speak?
Well, 25 years ago, my wife and I started something called Hilton Head Heroes. And make a long story short, over those years, we were able to purchase a nice big home down in Sea Pines. We don't live there, but we purchased it. And for over 20 years, every week, we were able to bring a family from somewhere around the country to come spend a cost-free week here and go on the boat cruises and play putt-putt golf and go to the beach and swim in the pool in the backyard and bring brother and sister and grandma if they want, and for the family to be together for a week. And all of these families have one thing in common: they have a very sick child, going through chemo or a transplant or whatever. So we were able to provide and have been able to provide over 1,000 families the opportunity to come to Sea Pines and enjoy, in their words, a normal week together. And in many cases, knowing they're going to be saying goodbye to one of their little ones. But additionally, we fund Ronald McDonald houses in Savannah and Charleston, which are close by. Last summer, we sent over 600 children to summer camps, all with medical needs and challenges. Paul Newman's camps in Florida and Connecticut, camps in Georgia and South Carolina and North Carolina, all over the place. So that's the mission we took on, to reach out and help a little bit, to reach out and beyond ourselves, and be grateful for all that we have, and be able to share it with others.
Now, is there um one of the people that you've had that's touched you a little bit like the most, or that made you kind of put things into a different light or into a different perspective?
Well, we've seen, a lot of our kids who have come here don't make it, you know, but we feel like, based on our conversations and letters and communication with the families for years and years afterwards, this was a wonderful place for them to gather one last time as a family. So that's been special. And the Ronald McDonald houses, I don't know if you're familiar with them, but if you have a sick kid in a hospital for 3 or 4 months, you're the mom or you're the dad, and you want to be with the child. Well, you're not sleeping in the hospital. Where do you go? So the Ronald McDonald houses uh, provide an opportunity for families to stay right there at the hospital, but be around other people who are going through something similar. So our work with them, I think, has also been very valuable. But there's dozens, if not hundreds, of particular kids that I remember, and yeah, remember in the best possible light.
Now, how has your career stayed consistent, but how has it changed over the years?
I was always the sit around the campfire kind of guy as a teenager, looking for girls and playing songs of the day and having fun. And that's really what my whole career has been. I'm not a great singer. I'm not a great guitar player or musician, um, but I have learned how to have fun with an audience, whether I'm in a tuxedo with an orchestra or standing under the oak tree or opening for a major star somewhere. Give me 20 minutes or hour and a half or 2 hours. I can have fun with an audience. And that's the consistency. The material has changed over the years, and my bits, my comedy stuff changes. It's ever changing, but that thread of just letting the audience have fun. My job is to turn a bunch of strangers into an audience, and if I've been able to do one thing well, I think that's probably it.
Now, do you kind of consider yourself a little bit a part comedian, so to speak, with your joke telling and some of your
Yeah, I don't.
humor?
I've always said with my tongue in my cheek, I don't really make a living singing. I do sing and I have songs, but I really make a living in between the songs, telling stories and being funny and hooking all the threads together. And that's what I love doing.
Now, has it kind of been a driver, so to speak, doing kind of what you love a little bit, if you will?
Well, yeah. I mean, anytime you get to go to work and you like what you're doing, and every night's a challenge. It doesn't matter what I did last night. I don't care how good I was. Tonight, different audience, whole new game. So you got to show up, and you can't phone it in. You have to stay creative. You have to stay fresh and new. And my philosophy has always been any given night, somebody's going to see me for the first time. And then other people that are there have seen me a bunch of times, but that's going to be the last time. And they both deserve the same amount of energy and enthusiasm. And doesn't matter what happened to me during the day. You have a bad day and the IRS knocks on your door, or you stub your toe, whatever. None of that matters because people come to see you, and you have to be able to deliver the goods, so to speak. But loving it makes all the difference in the world.
Now, how did you and Randy meet? But how did the songwriting and the partnership work out,
Yeah,
so to
well,
speak?
Randy and I used to go to Colorado every winter for like 30 winters. And eventually I bought a club out there. It was a pizza joint, pool tables, seat 300 people or so. And I would come in and do an early performance, like from 7 o'clock until 10 o'clock at night. And then they would have a rock and roll band come on the stage and play till 2 in the morning. Well, I ended up buying that club, and Randy was the head bartender manager at the club. And after one winter, after my first winter out there with him, I asked him what he was going to do for the summer. And he said, "Well, I don't know. I'm just probably going to hang around here." I said, "Well, why don't you come to Hilton Head and work with me there?" So he did. And he's now been with me almost 40 years. He handles everything, all the merchandise, all the sound stuff, lost children, people falling and getting hurt, whatever. He's never missed a night that I've been there in almost 40 years. So we're number one, we're great friends, but number two, he's my right hand guy. I couldn't do what I do without him. He's not involved on the creative side. I'm finishing up my fourth children's book right now. We've had 10 or 12 albums. couple of movies, the documentary that came out. There's been a lot of stuff, um, but Randy handles getting it from whoever's creating it out to the public, and he does a great job with it.
Now, have there been some people that you've worked with that you've either appreciated a lot or who have kind of made a big impact on you, so to speak?
Well, yeah, whenever you're in this line of work, you like to learn from other people. And early on, there were, yeah, you've never heard of them because they didn't become famous, but there was a group out of Atlanta called Banks and Shane, and a group out of Birmingham, Alabama called Three on a String, and a guy from Canada named Ronnie Prophet. These were all guys I looked up to and watched do what they do. And on TV, there were two brothers called the Smothers Brothers, and they played folk music, but they did it in a funny way. So I always admired the entertainment side. I love the music side, but I always gravitated to the entertainment side. Bruce Springsteen, if you ever watch some of his concerts, I love his music, but I also love the stories he tells about songs and why they were written or who they were written about. So I've always gravitated toward in between the songs what people can go buy the music, they can buy my music or buy Springsteen's music, but when they come see you live, they want to take part of you home with them and to connect like you are right now with a podcast. That's something they don't get off of anything other than directly connecting with you. So that's the part of performance that I studied. Disney made us work at it when I worked at Disney, and that's the part that's given me the career.
Now, how have you connected with different people from um around the world, meaning like people who come to see Pines, whether it's like golfers or whoever it might be?
Well, now it's pretty easy in this day and age with media being the way it is, social media. But when the guys at Apple decided to create our documentary, as I told you, I turned them down because I just thought, well, there's no story here. Nobody's going to want to watch this. But what it brought to light was it did so well because all of those people over all these years, the Apple people think it's been like 5 million people have sat there in my audience. Uh, it, they liked watching it and hearing the story and connecting with it. And I think we were all surprised how many people are out there around the country that consider us to be friends. So it was cool to watch.
Now, is there any one thing from your career that you're very proud of or that you didn't expect, so to speak?
I think just the longevity. There aren't a lot of guys around that have strung together, 50 years in the business. And I'm not famous. Okay, I don't have hit songs. I'm not in People Magazine or whatever's big right now. But I've carved out a career that has connected me with generations of family members, and I think I'm probably the most proud of that. And my dad taught me early on, well, whatever you do, you have to show up and you have to keep showing up day in and day out. Put in the time, put in the rehearsal, put in the creativity, and keep going. So I think that's the part I'm most proud of. Um, I can't single out a night or a particular instance where it all just came together and worked. because I've had so many of those nights. And, you know, I know there's still some runway ahead of me, and I'm looking forward to that and whatever's next.
Now, do you think that there's going to be some more songwriting or some more songs that are going to be written, or do you think that what you have at the moment is kind of sufficient?
I, you know, I like to write. As I told you, my fourth children's book is with the illustrator right now. Uh, um, they're working on it, and it'll be out before this summer. So that's a creative outlet for me. I've written a handful of movie scripts. There's interest in one of those scripts being developed into a movie right now. There's talk of a YouTube channel TV show looking for the next people to take my place. That a very well-connected producer is pitching me on. So I don't know what's coming, but whatever it is, you know, it'll be fun.
Now, what do you see as kind of next? Obviously, besides having a very successful career, but obviously stepping away from the stage, like what do you see as kind of the next your your next thing, so to speak?
Yeah, well, I don't think when you're a creative person that you ever really retire. Now, maybe I won't work as much at night and strap on a guitar and walk out on a stage somewhere. I mean, uh, to have done that thousands and thousands and thousands of times all over the world, you know, I'll miss that, but I won't stop completely. And a creative person is always going to be creative, whether it's more books or, you know, if one of the movies gets made or the TV show thing comes around. You know, those are all outlets for being creative. But you know, at at my age, you begin to slow down and want to do some other things as well. In the Apple TV doc, they asked me if I had any regrets about all those years under the tree and in the summertime. And you know, we have two beautiful daughters, and I have a regret that I never got to go with them on a summer vacation. My summers were spent entertaining other children on vacations. Now we took our trips and you know the rest of the year, but you know, I get to have more family time. We have a new granddaughter in New York City with our daughter, and our oldest daughter lives out in Colorado, so we're going to bounce around and have fun traveling. And you know, I hook up with people all the time that want to stop and chat, like chatting with you today. So it's a fun thing.
So what I'm hearing is that you don't plan to be the person who kind of kicks up their feet and goes, "That's it for me. I'm retiring," or "I'm just gonna
That's
kick my feet up," so to speak.
I'm not wired that way at all. No, I've always been very, very active, career wise, family wise. You know, I've got buddies I play golf with, and uh, we take trips down to the Bahamas all the time. So I'm going to be active, and I'm not going to put my feet up in a lounge chair and ride off in the sunset. I'm gonna go out kicking and screaming and trying to have fun.
Now, are you still gonna do the bubblegum cruise? And also, what about have you done Disney cruises at all, or just the bubblegum
I've
cruise?
worked on all the major cruise lines. I've done over 1,000 cruise ships from New Zealand and Australia, all through Hawaii and the Caribbean, and all through Europe. And I still have the opportunity to go on cruises and do those. I'm still, you know, even at my age, kind of relevant in that world, and still have fun with it. But mostly we go on the cruises now for fun. Um, and it, you know, if I end up doing a night or two a week down in Harbortown. If they want me to do that, certainly I could. So we'll just see how it all folds out. And of course, you want to stay healthy. And I've had some challenges, and my wife has had some challenges. So as long as we stay healthy and can get out there and be a part of the world, I think that's the best way to live.
Now, do you have any advice for anybody who's younger who either wants to follow the path that you did or wants to be an entrepreneur and kind of wants to take a risk?
Well, I think, yes, I mentor a couple of younger musician types now. And, I think number one, you have to be authentic, and you have to be genuine in what you're doing, whatever your passion is. And you have to find something that you really like, because going to work every day is hard. If you hate it, I don't know how people do it, but it's hard even if you love it. So with our children, we tried to expose them to everything in the world and let them pick and choose what they do, and they both did, and they're successful doing that. So I think that's the key: find something you love, be authentic, try to learn from people around you, watch how other people did it, try to improve that and put your own spin on it, and go to work every day and make a difference in people's lives. And what you put out there comes back in wonderful ways.
Now, my next question is, what do you what excites you the most about AI, but also what scares you most about it as well?
Well, I think it's frightening that someone could record our conversation here today and then take that and with AI could recreate me saying something that I didn't say or that I didn't think, and paint me into a corner not of my own doing. That's frightening to me. But I think AI used in properly is a great creative tool. Can help writing, can help anything and everything. Uh, it'll be interesting to see where it goes over the next 10, 20 years. But somehow we have to be able to discern what is real and what is created, out of a computer, so that we know the difference. We can't have our political leaders or our heroes or our athletes or, just regular everyday people having their words changed that don't reflect what they are really saying at any given moment. That's frightening.
Now, what is your question for the next guest that comes on?
Gosh, I would want to know. You've asked the good questions. Why and how did you get started? What led you on that road? We all walk down a road, and you zig and zag off the road until you find something that really tugs at your passion strings. And then when you discover that, then how do you get good at it? How do you get better at it? And that happens with study, with practice, with work. They say it takes 10,000 hours to be able to do anything pretty well. So I would say to anybody coming along, find it. You know what it is when you're doing it. You love doing it. Nobody made me go sit in my bedroom and sit and play the guitar for hours after hours after hours. I just love doing it. And then how do you turn that into something that can be a good thing in the world, no matter what it is? You can be a good businessman, you can be creative, you can do anything you want to do, especially now with the way the world is. So find it, embrace it, work at it, study it, and take it out there, take a risk. Nobody's going to come knock on your door and say, hey, we want you to do this. No, you gotta push it out there and and find your space.
Now, my last question is: are there 2 to 3 people that you would recommend for the podcast?
Depending on what you're looking for, if it's entertainment people, or if it's business people, or it's people who are reaching out and doing things to change the world, with efforts. And so I would have to ask you, what are you looking for?
I would say that it can be a mix of all. It doesn't have to be doesn't have to be a sole concentration for only a business person or only an entertainer. I would say that the more the better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, you know what? I will put together a list of maybe 5 or 6 people with contact information, and get that to you. And I think are all people you would find interesting and learn something from, and your listeners would enjoy learning about them and their endeavors.
Okay. Do you have any last things or any closing remarks?
Just again, the most important thing in my life has been embracing uh, the God-given talents that I have. Again, I say it till the day I die. I'm not a great singer. I'm not a great guitar player, but I've built a life uh, enjoying sharing my life with audiences all over the world. And if you can find something like that, find something you care about that you love doing, and work at it, um, it can set you on a path that is very rewarding in this life.
I would have to agree. I think that's a good way to wrap it up. Gregg Russell, it's been a pleasure. I know obviously being when I saw you in concert and I was very little, I was kind of, like, who is this person? But then growing up and then going to your concerts, but then, getting to talk with you in person and hear your backstory, I think has been important. So thank you. This has been episode number 23. So as always, you should know what to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button, and don't forget to write a review because it helps more than you think. And until next time, peace.
Thanks, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate